So the next story is from Tyler Scott. I remember guarding him. It was a road game for us at PEI, and Tyler was arguably unguardable. I was trying to guard him, and I'm not a player known for my defense by any stretch. But for me to be matched up with Tyler, I got cooked. What's going on, everyone? Good morning. I'm just getting ready to film a new episode of UndressTheStories, but before I even get my day started, I gotta start with some coffee. So during quarantine, I've been literally doing the exact same thing every day. I've been sleeping in a lot, which I don't mind because it just makes me feel more rested and then get ready to attack my day. But I'll always start with coffee, sit down, check up on anything I have to do, start setting goals, I guess, of what I want to accomplish for the day, and then just get started on it. So, welcome. All right, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of UndressTheStories. I'm really starting to enjoy this series because it's allowing me to share my thoughts, express a little bit of my personality. The more I think of it, the benefit of going back and reading the stories is it allows me to read it from the frame of mind that I'm in today. So 2-3 years ago when I read one of these stories, it's gonna hit me differently and I'm gonna see it in a different light, or I'm gonna pull something different than I would today, especially with everything going on and my new experiences, blah, 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 blah. So let's get right into it. So the first story today is from Joanna Alfonso. Joanna was a member of the St. FX women's rugby team, arguably St. FX's most successful sports team. And Joanna was the one on that team. She was just so dominant, and I got to know her a little bit through the St. FX Leadership Academy. It's where they take members from each sports team, bring them together, and teach them about leadership, how to apply it on their team. Getting to know Joanna, I've come to learn that she's the most heartfelt, genuine, most energetic, nice person, just phenomenal person. And her accolades, I can't even name them off, but all Canadian, MVP, national championships, she's the GOAT. So it's been an honor to get her on here, but let's read it. So rugby was never my first choice, but when I was in grade 10 and I started realizing that I was something I was good at, it became my best friend. I've recently started to battle with myself on how far athletics career can take me. After 3 AUS All-Stars, 2 first-team All-Canadians, 2 AUS MVPs, 2 national championships, 2 conference championships, I finally realized it's not about how much success I can get in the sport. It's about the people, the teammates, and the networking that makes the sport so important. It's about the bonds you build and hang on to. Over the years, I didn't realize how hard it is to be a leader and how many expectations people have for you. Nobody's perfect, but I always have 40 girls to pick me up whenever I need it. When I feel like giving up, it's those who support me on and off the field that really make every day worth it. So like I said, her list of achievements, I'm pretty sure she still had a few years, 1 or 2 years left after she wrote that. So she only got more achievements. But my favorite part about that is she said she's starting to really struggle with how far her athletics career can take her. And I think that's coming from a frame of mind of achievement or status or award based. And she shifted her perspective and said, all right, well, it actually goes beyond that, and it's the networking, the friendships, and the relationships that come with it. It's when she starts talking about that is when you can finally see that she's gaining the most value from the sport. Currently, Joanna is just finishing up her education degree at St. FX. I had the opportunity to talk to her on a podcast, TOTFC podcast. Check out the link here. In that podcast, it was so evident. We touched on everything from like culture to locker room, relationships, building tools to learn. And Joanna becoming a teacher, there's no one better because she understands the importance of leadership, of team building relationships, the importance of giving people the tools in order to learn. Definitely check out that conversation, but I can't stress enough how amazing Joanna is. So shout out Jo, man. All right, let's get on the next story. Next story is from Marquise Clayton. Marquise went to Citadel High School here in the city, ended up going to St. FX, playing for the basketball team there, and then transferring to St. Mary's where he finished his career. He had a little bit of time with the Halifax Hurricanes and other teams in the NBL. So it's been kind of exciting to see his journey. You know, obviously there's a lot of this, but the thing that sticks out to me is that he just never gives up, right? So shout out Mar for sharing his story on the page. Let's get into it. Basketball has been a part of me ever since I was 5 years old. Growing up playing for the community Y, I always wanted to play against the older and stronger guys because I knew it would better my game. Developing over the years, I was always one of the smallest guys on the court, but that never stopped me. I was always willing to take on the challenge from bigger players, which made me that much better every year. The game of basketball allowed me to make lifetime relationships with players, parents, and coaches. It allowed me to gain a basketball scholarship and be able to play basketball while working my way to a degree at the same time. It's my 5th and final year, planning to graduate in May. I realized when I started university that basketball can only last so long, so why not finish with a degree and have something to fall back on when it's all said and done? So as Mar mentioned, he grew up playing for the Community Y here in Halifax, which was the same team that I grew up playing as well here in the city. Originally, I'm from Truro, Nova Scotia, but Truro's a hockey town at its best, and there was no real basketball being focused there. So I drove, me and my dad, shout out my dad, man. We spent 3 days a week back and forth to the city for practices and games. But yeah, like I said, the mentality that Mar has is a mentality that shows in his game too. I remember we would play each other at X versus SMU, and he always had this chip on his shoulder, and he never backed down to anyone. So I can't help to think that that's something that he developed as a kid, because always being the smallest player on the team, you're in a way overlooked by taller, stronger, more athletic guys. But the way you can truly separate yourself is when you tap in here and just refuse to be overlooked. That's something that is prominent in Mar's game. His confidence is just, I don't know if I've ever played against a more confident player than Mar. With that being said, that just shows his inability to give up. Like he was never satisfied, and that's why he's been so successful. So the best way I can describe Mar is just heart, and he has a lot of heart for the game and in life in general. So shout out Mar. Let's get one more in. So the next story is from Tyler Scott, who's also a basketball player from Halifax. Tyler was another player who I played against in university. He played for the University of Prince Edward Island. When I tell you this guy was talented, he was nasty. So it's funny, it seems like ever since I can remember learning how to walk, I had a basketball in my hands at the same time. It's just always been a part of my life. Growing up playing mini basketball with the Fairview Clayton Park Warriors, that's all I could think of throughout the week. Just getting to practice Friday night and playing Saturday morning. From that point on, it's been a sport I've played every day since then. Being a part of the game, it's a large community and family within itself. Throughout the years, it has opened the doors for myself and many others to get a great education at the same time while playing a sport you love. I'm very appreciative given an opportunity to further my education at both Acadia University and now the University of Prince Edward Island, as I plan on graduating with a degree in sociology. If I could share one important factor that can never be stressed enough, is that you have to have the realization that all good things must come to an end eventually. And with that being said, having a degree is something that can never be taken from you. So do your very best to obtain that very important piece if given the opportunity. I love this. Back to back, we've had two guys who are arguably some of the best players to ever play basketball here in Nova Scotia stress the importance of education. For Tyler, there's a hilarious photo I'm gonna pop up here. I remember guarding him. It was a road game for us at PEI, and Tyler was arguably unguardable. I was trying to guard him, and I'm not a player known for my defense by any stretch. But for me to be matched up with Tyler, I got cooked. But Tyler has always been that guy who respects his players, and he doesn't think he's above others. I'll always have a lot of respect for Tyler because, like he said, the basketball community, especially here in Nova Scotia, whether or not you grew up with the people, just because you're a part of that community, everyone knows everyone, and it's a special community to be a part of. So shout out Tyler again, man. So that's another episode of Undress the Stories. Really hope you enjoyed this one. For any of you guys watching, I'm gonna link the Instagrams of these 3 athletes in the description below. Go show them love. Let them know what you thought about their story. If you want to read more stories of athletes, there's new stories going up every day on Instagram at UndressTheJersey. You can find me at T_Ross4. Drop me a comment below how you're liking the series. And if you can, just hit that thumbs up button for me. It helps me get my videos out to more people. And your support keeps me doing what I'm doing. So much love.